Right now in Deadlock, there's a ton of problematic characters, and just to name a couple, you have characters like Haze, Holiday, and even Yamato. And honestly, it can be rather frustrating not knowing what to do. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about exactly how to shut these characters down, what items and ideas you want to be thinking about. My name's Doug Films, an Eternus ranked player and team analyst for Rose Syndicate. And if you find yourself struggling against these characters or just need some better understanding or knowledge, then this is definitely the video for you. And I do quickly want to say, if you genuinely want to help me out and support this channel, do me a favor, hit that like button. Of course, subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're going for 100k subs by the end of this year. But anyways, I hope you sit back, relax, and of course, enjoy the show. I think right now, one of the most problematic characters, and I think a lot of frustration for players, is Haze. Now, Haze has been a problematic character, at least in matchmaking, for quite a while now, and even more so recently because of the recent changes they did with her kit. Now, the reason why Haze is getting picked a lot more now is mainly due to her sleep dagger change, and that is the tier 2 now also applies 15 fixation stacks. This essentially turns this character from what she used to do, mainly just building gun and playing for her ultimate with Curse, and now you're looking more at a spirit build with Echo Shard, which is essentially get 2 knives, that's like a guaranteed whatever 400, 600 damage depending on your spirit items, but let's just say 300 to keep it easy. That's one instance of 300 and then another instance of 300, so 600. And just to put that into perspective, you can instantly delete people extremely quickly. And right now, how the meta is playing out, majority of the time, a lot of the enemies are deathballing either as 4 or 5, and you're having that one other person just doing a solo wave, so having that huge pick opportunity with the Haze is super beneficial. And sometimes playing against it is not really fun because it feels like there's absolutely zero counterplay because in an instance you're instantly dead. You know, pretty easier said than done, of course. Now when you're looking at it, most Haze players, like I said, are building the Echo Shard, so let's talk about how to deal with this type of build. Basically, if you have the reaction time of a god, you can think of an item like Counterspell. You hear the noise proc, then you instantly go for a Counterspell to try to protect yourself from the sleep dagger. But let's be honest, only a portion or a fraction of us are actually going to be hitting that counterspell, so let's actually make it simple. Probably your best friend right now, even though I'm not the biggest fan of this item, is Indomitable. Indomitable states that the next stun, sleep, chain, CC, whatever is instantly cleansed, and it gives you a nice looking shield. Now, while this is a nice item and probably one of the best ways of shutting down this specific strategy, if you're running into a Haze that pretty much has a brain, you know that they're probably going to proc the Indom with either a slowing hex or something else like a silence wave, then go for the sleep dagger. This is why you pair this item with, Unstoppable, although this sort of action is extremely expensive, but you can also do Indomitable and then pop Metal Skin as well, so those are some ideas to think about. Like I said, Indomitable is not necessarily the best item in the world because, like I talked about earlier, it could be procced with Silence Wave and other things, so if the Haze you're playing against is smart, that's something to consider. But if you know the Haze isn't buying those items, you might be able to get away with Indomitable. So like I said, you want to pop Indom, then have Metal Skin ready to go. Basically, this will negate pretty much all of her damage. I would say Plated as well, but the issue with Plated is, yes, it's good, but if she has Crippling Headshot or anything else, Plated kind of doesn't really matter, so that's why I like Metal Skin. It's a cheaper alternative and it makes you immune to bullet damage, which Haze is mainly doing. So having those 2 items is probably one of the best ways of shutting her down. You could also pair Metal Skin, Return Fire, and Indomitable all into one. So basically Indom pops, Metal Skin plus Return Fire, and the Haze will nuke herself instead of you. But again, this only truly works if Haze is not popping your Indom before the engage, so those are all things to consider. Some other simple things to note is that a lot of the players that are playing this build are really stupid, and what I mean by that is that they're not really buying this spell. And when they're not buying the spell, you want to buy an item like Disarming Hex. Even if the Haze sleeps you or right before, if you manage to get off Disarming Hex onto her before she does anything to you, I mean, she's not going to do anything to you, essentially, because she can't shoot her gun onto you. So I think Disarming Hex is a slept-on item, especially in pretty much every elo. This item is completely overpowered, and this shuts down the character entirely. Like I said, a lot of Haze players don't buy this spell, so let's just hope they stay that way and actually don't buy this spell. But you have to remember that this particular strategy or idea of this Haze build is going for isolated targets, so as long as you have somebody hovering you or staying near the pack with the rest of your team, you should be able to survive a lot of the engages from the Haze. She thrives on chaos and trying to go for those isolated picks, so like I said, if you have somebody following you around, or hovering you, whatever the case may be, this is probably one of the best ways to shut down Haze in general. Or trying to communicate to your team to get the refrag on yourself so that you're at least going 1 for 1. Now, like I said, this is all easier said than done, but these are probably the best ways to shut down this new Haze or the Spirit Haze hybrid right now. Moving from Haze, we come to Yamato. Now, Yamato has been one of those pain points a lot of people have been recently talking about. With the addition of a couple extra grapples to her kit, Yamato has definitely become quite a menace. With a frontliner, spirit nuker, and sometimes a gun damage character, being able to jump into the backline, practically live forever, and stick onto the enemies like glue, Yamato has been becoming quite a nuisance to deal with. And let's all be honest, we've all been in that situation where there's a Yamato diving into our backline and it seems like nothing can be done about her. But here is what you need to know. First and foremost, Yamato's grapples can actually be cancelled out by using Dispel Magic. Although she has 3, dispelling 1 at least buys you some time to hopefully break line of sight before she latches back onto you. Now you might be saying, yes, you can dispel it, but what happens if they jump right back on you? Well, there's a little bit of a buffer, about 3-ish seconds to where you can break line of sight and she can't grapple instantly. It's not a recast unless she instantly uses her ultimate or uses refresher. The best course of action is breaking line of sight the second you use Dispel Magic to break her grapple. However, if she has line of sight of you, she can grapple from pretty much halfway across the world. That's why Dispel Magic is usually the best course of action. Now, similar in the sense of Calico, where these characters like to snowball, shutting down a Yamato in the early game and maintaining that pressure is one of the best ways at dealing with her. Constantly not allowing the character to farm and always trying to kill her off rip when she doesn't have her ultimate is usually the best course of action. Like I said, the thing about Yamato is she's a snowball character. If she doesn't get a good start, it feels pretty bad for the player and the character in general. So like I previously mentioned, trying to maintain that idea is a great way of, well, shutting the character down. Paying attention to when she's using her ultimate, what timer her ultimate's at, and just understanding the cooldown timer, like I said. Now, besides Dispel Magic, you can think of stuff like buying Curse, Knockdown, Slowing Hex, all of that jazz, especially if she doesn't have her ultimate up, because those are ways to shut the character down and to prevent her from continuously grappling. And like I said, grappling, grapple again, and then a third grapple, maybe a 4th, 5th, and then a 6th. Oh, don't forget about Refresher Ultimate, so let's say, 9, 12 grapples. You get the idea. The character is really annoying. That's why, like I said, Dispel Magic is a must if you're playing against a Yamato. Right now, a lot of builds are emphasizing maxing the 2, so maxing her grapple, so she'll have 3 right away outside of the laning phase. So understanding that concept and buying Dispel Magic early is definitely in the best interest if you want to keep yourself alive, especially if you're a side laner and you know that you're, easily vulnerable to those type of characters. And again, just try to re-emphasize buying items like Curse and then Slowing Hex before she has her ultimate or when her ultimate's off cooldown, just to completely negate all of her abilities and not allow her to do anything is a good idea. You can also get an item like Silence Wave as well that makes her, silenced. She can't use her abilities. So these are all, things to be constantly thinking about. You can also use an item like Focus Lens if you're one of those characters that uses those items, maybe a character like Mina if you find yourself in that matchup, or even a Haze. But to me, that's really all about it. If the character has her ultimate up, it's really hard to really do anything besides using, of course, Dispel Magic to get rid of the grapples. But in terms of that, if she has her ultimate, just trying to dump as much damage as you can, you have to understand there's certain circumstances where you have to trade the enemy's backline for your own if the Yamato is diving your own backline. It's either your entire team focuses the Yamato down, or you just give the enemy your backline and try to trade out with the enemy's backline to try to get an even trade. Most cases, you're probably going to go 1 for 1 or 1 for 2 for the Yamato, but trying to shut down this character is usually, the best outcome, unfortunately. But basically, to summarize, if you can shut the character down in the early game, chances are you'll probably end up winning the match. But to be able to shut her down in the early game, you have to maintain constant pressure on this character so she can't farm for free. If you have the right characters and ability to do that, that's definitely what you want to be doing, especially, again, when she doesn't have her ultimate. I want to keep emphasizing that. And who knows, by the time this video comes out, the character might be nerfed as well as Haze, but we shall see in the future. But really, those were the 2 characters I want to talk about because I think those are 2 of the pain points that a lot of players currently have right now. Haze with the Echo Shard build, and Yamato in general. Like I said, a lot of people are building the gun hybrid Yamato build right now, which can be pretty annoying. So just understanding those two concepts and understanding, some key ideas to be thinking about is definitely the right course of action. And yes, the holiday was just a trigger word in the beginning of the video. But anyways, hopefully this video has helped you in any way, shape, or form. And if you have your own ways of shutting down either Haze and even Yamato, let me know in the comments down below so we can help everybody out. But like I said, if you found this video helpful in any way, shape, or form, do me a favor, hit the like button, of course subscribe to the channel if you're new. And as always, I hope you have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next one.